Going to now move on to Natalia Usachova. She's the Women's Human Rights Campaign country contact for Ukraine, and she's also a member of Lesbian Alliance.
My name is Natasha Usachova. I'm one of Women Human Rights Campaign country contact for Ukraine. I'm also founder of Lesbian Alliance and lesbian-oriented feminist digital platform, which is called Lesbian Portal. The idea to organize and unite lesbian community came to my mind a long time ago. Lesbians are separated and don't have much connection between each other. There is also a lack of visibility and positive representation. Lesbians and other women in popular mainstream media. My main goal is to increase lesbian visibility. It's very important. Also about safe spaces for women, girls, lesbians in particular. I faced backlash from some of LGBTQ activists and their supporters. They promote inclusivity and they accuse me of being intolerant, of bigotry, transphobia, because I attempted to create a lesbian-only space, lesbian-only group, and publication dedicated specifically to lesbian women. There is not much information about lesbians that you can find in Ukrainian newspapers, magazines, television, online outlets. And even if you find some information, it's usually neutral terms, or sometimes you can feel some kind of prejudice and negative attitude. There were some attempts from LGBT organizations to create some magazines and online platform, but they're mostly male-dominated, and they're all about men. Gay men, trans, queers, they're allies. But visibility is important and representation, especially positive representation. Most of Ukrainian lesbians closeted and they just don't want to talk about it publicly. They don't want to go openly about being a lesbian. So that's why I created this platform about lesbians and for lesbians. First of all, to provide visibility, information, support for lesbians, especially young lesbians, to show them positive, inspirational role models. To make them feel more secure and confident about themselves, to make them feel they're not alone. There are lots of lesbians around the world, thousands, even millions, but unfortunately, we don't have such strong communication, connection with each other. I think the main problem within lesbian community in Ukraine is a lack of solidarity, unity, support for each other. Even those, many of those who identify as LGBT, queer, allies, even those who identify as lesbians, they often share and express sexist, misogynistic, lesbophobic, sometimes views, as the same as majority of population. Especially young lesbians, they learn about all these sexist perceptions about women, girls, lesbians since birth or childhood, from parents, from people around them, from society, and then later from LGBT organizations, social media, that promote these sexist perceptions and stereotypes, negative stereotypes, gender identity. They see it, they hear it all the time, and they repeat it. So that's why my main focus right now is to eliminate the sexist perceptions of women, girls, lesbians, and to increase lesbian visibility in the most positive way as it's possible. What about gender identity in Ukraine? These views, these ideas is not very popular. There is currently no legislation that allows person to be legally recognized as person of the opposite sex without sexual assignment surgery. These views toward homosexuality, it comes from the Soviet Union times, when homosexuality was criminal offense and was punishable by law. Ukraine is one of former Soviet republics. They were atheist ideology, so that wasn't motivated by religious views, and that was motivated political ideology. So that was propaganda, promotion of traditional families, union of men and women that had to create families and provide new communist babies to the world. So that was the only politically correct way to live. These homosexuals were persecuted, were considered as mentally ill, as social elements, outlaws. They were subjected to harsh psychiatric treatment. Homosexuals could go to prison if someone found out they were gay or lesbian. There was also approved option, approved by government to change sex, so to fit into heterosexual norms, standards. So that was attempt to erase homosexuality. In the early 90s, Soviet Union collapsed. So Ukraine and other post-Soviet countries decriminalized homosexuality. So it's legal in Ukraine to be homosexual, same-sex relationships and lesbian relationships. It's not against law, but actually we still have a long way to go because same-sex marriages is not recognized in Ukraine yet. So I guess there are still attitudes, negative attitudes of society from people toward homosexuality still in Ukraine and other post-Soviet countries. So we have a lot to do. I guess first of all, we have to focus on visibility and representation.